Everybody, Angsty here. You may recognize me from such internet television programs such as the Plumes of Hazard, but we're not here on the Plumes of Hazard this week. We're going to be doing something a little bit different. Now, a little while back, we did some 30-second reviews. Those are a lot of fun to do, but they're kind of hard to get much depth of information into 30 seconds, even if you're not using punctuation and you've got no ums or ahs or awkward silences in there. So what we thought we'd do is do something a little bit longer form, but not too much, because I don't like watching long vape reviews, and I'm guessing you don't like watching long vape reviews. So let's not make this a long vape review. How about? So what we're gonna do today is I'm going to show you a dripping atomizer, and now this is called a NarDA. It's not really called a NarDA. It's called the NarDA because it's made by a guy named Nareg, and he thought it would be cool to call something a NarDA. And then he sent one to Todd to beta test, and Todd called it a NarDA. It's just stuck at this point. I don't think Nareg could ever get it unstuck from everybody's mouth. It's the NarDA at this point. So I hope that's okay with you, Nareg, because that's what it is. Now, this is not a new atomizer. I have had this particular atomizer, this particular atomizer I've had for like 7 months. So this is not a views grab, get it unboxed and not really used it very much sort of thing. I've used the crap out of this thing and these things for quite some time, and I'm happy to show them to you because even though they've been out for a while, not everybody that wants one has one, and you might be thinking about picking one up on the secondary market or new. So I thought this might be useful. Now, this is a 22 millimeter rebuildable dripping atomizer. So 22 mil is going to look really good on most mods. It's only 19 millimeters tall. Robin, I don't know how that's supposed to work. It's made with a lot of the pros that a lot of the really nice atomizers offer, and it kind of like table stakes these days. It's 22 millimeters. It's 19 millimeters tall, and it's got, it's all 316 stainless. It's got peak insulators inside. It's got a negative poster built into the deck, so it'll never spin on you. And one of the things that's the best thing about this thing is it's got an airflow hole and another airflow hole. And now, while it's got two, it's only made for a single coil. What? Yeah, it's really weird, but you'll see in just a minute. Now, you can put duals in there, but in my opinion, it's actually a little bit better as a single. And this is somebody that I actually like duals in a lot of drippers. Not this one. This one does the best with a single coil. And we'll show you when it comes down to the table, and you can see what it is. But this is made in the United States. It's not terribly expensive. It's got a lot of really nice features inside. It's leak resistant, which is fantastic. You can get a bottom feeding pin for it, obviously, because I've got, both of them are on squonkers at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a lot of this stuff kind of up close, and I'm actually going to do something, because I love you so much, I'm going to pull perfectly good builds out of both of these things, my primary dripping atomizers, and rebuild them for you. I've got two ways that I kind of do it. I think I'm going to show you both of them, and that way you can kind of choose which one looks better for you, and but both of them work really, really well. So let's go up tight and see what's going down. Bam! So when you get your NarDA, this is how it comes to you. They've got these kind of clever little nice metal tins. It's not a whole lot of art and stuff on the outside, with the exception of the top cap, which is pretty cool. Got their neat little logo. It says NarDA and Narmods on it. Inside, pop this guy off. We've got a little padding for shipping. We've got some spares. These are 2 deck screws that are spare in case you lose one. We've got a couple of O-rings for the outside of the deck in case you damage one or lose one of those guys. And then down inside you've got your NarDA. This is not a NarDA. This is actually just the stock cap, but I wanted to show it to you, as well as the drip tip that comes with it. So it's really kind of a neat finish. This guy is. It's not heavily engraved. It doesn't have a bunch of stuff going on. It's just a relatively classy 316 stainless sort of top cap. It looks good on a lot of different mods. Now, the drip tip is not exactly something I'm wild about, but it's nice that they include one. It's always kind of odd when a dripper ships without a drip tip, but this is really a nice one. It's nice and insulated, or it's a non-heat conductive sort of drip tip. It's white. I believe all of them are. They're dual O-ringed. Now, while it's a 510 plug, the same as everybody else, it's actually quite thin, as you'll see. So you actually get a pretty solid amount of airflow through there, and it kind of opens up a little bit in kind of a conical sort of fashion inside, which is, it works really, really, not really well. It works well. It does what it's supposed to do. It's not my favorite thing about it, but I like the fact that they include one that looks nice with it. So that's it. I like my own drip tips, and I like my own top cap symbols. I'll show you those here in just a minute. So let's get rid of these guys and show you the actual guy that we're here to look at. So this is the NarDA deck, and right now this particular one has a squonking pin in it. You can see how that is. You can see straight on through there. Because if you've ever tried squonking, this is bottom feeding. It sits on your mod. The juice comes from underneath into your well, and I'm not going to show you exactly what squonking is in this particular atomizer, or this atomizer review, but here's what we got. We got two big, thick, heavy, standard non-Phillips sort of flathead screws for your wires. We've got our positive over here, and you can see the peak insulator down there in the bottom. The negative is milled into the deck here, and then here we've got the magic. This is what makes the NarDA super, super cool. So we've got airflow coming in from here, and on the other side we've got airflow coming in from here, and both of those are directed right here into the middle. And you can see the way that this guy kind of comes in right there, and it kind of fans out a little bit. Now this little bump area is kind of the trick part that makes it not leak very much. So no matter whether or not you've got a significant amount of juice in your juice well, if you put this thing on its side, juice is going to be welling up here and not coming out your airflow hole here. So unless you really flood the crap out of this thing, it is really not going to leak. And I think that is super cool, not only for regular dripping, but for squonking specifically, because that's for dripping on the go is really what it does. So this really, really helps. Now, both of those airs hitting your coil right here in the middle it has to be the magic beans, right? This is the magic thing that makes the NarDA a NarDA, is that airflow hitting that coil from either side right here in the middle. You can put a little more heat than you think you need to, or not need to, that you think you can. And being that the airflow is so good and so concentrated right there on your coil, that is the cool thing. So we're going to throw a build in this thing. I'm going to show you how I wick it, and we'll I might not build both of them, but yeah, I probably should build both of them. So let's get that done right now. All right, so I just shot that, and both coils took way too long to do for your time, and I didn't want to do that to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build one, the more complicated, that's not complicated, but the slightly more difficult coil, and show you how to do that, and I'll show you pictures of the other one, which is a little bit easier to do, and you'll have no problem replicating it. Now, you will see here, and you know what, we'll get to that in just a minute. I'm a little frustrated because I've actually already shot this once, and it went perfectly, and then looked up when I was done, and it had stopped recording halfway through. So we're going to talk quickly and get through this thing. Now, I am not a professional coil builder, but I do play one on the internet. So I do have large spools, and it is my preferred Canthal and 27 gauge by Kidding Puncher. They've got nice stuff, and 27 gauge is nice. It's not quite as thick as 26, and with its respective heat up time, and it's not as much of a pain in the butt as it is as 28 gauge can be. It's a little flimsy. 27's a nice average right between, and I like that. Now I wrap 3mm coils in many different atomizers, including this one, and I am also cheating and using a Coilmaster jig, definitely. Now my normal coil is a contact coil, 3mm, about a 9 wrap or so, and we will be doing something like that here. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this guy up. I'm going to finish this one up because I had cut this a little short apparently. My B. There we go. Nice tight coil. Our legs are straight away from each other. Now, the reason this is a slightly more difficult coil is because if you look right here, our airflow is coming in from both of these guys, yet our terminals are straight across from each other. So if you go to attach it how you think you might attach it, like these, then your airflow is not going to be hitting it straight on the side, which is the way I like my air to hit. So we fix that by fixing these legs. Now I usually do that by putting back on the jig and grabbing our friendly neighborhood tweezers, holding it in place, and at the bottom just rotating these legs 90 degrees out, just like these. Flip it around, and I'll show you this in a little closer, but we're going to do the same on the other side. We're going to just go straight out. So there we go. Let's get a little tighter so you can see what we got going on here. So you see we've got our little bend, a little friendly bend straight there. Now it's a little sloppy. Now we'll clean it up in just a minute, but that's the general shape you want, and then that's going to help us mount straight back down on our NarDA base. So let's do it. I also like to take the little jig rod out of here and use that kind of as a guide. It's kind of a useful little guy. So we're going to get that guy down and get this guy on the other side. In there. Nice and snug. And tighten her down. And again, this little build, this little rod is just kind of nice to kind of hold your coil in place while you get everything nice and tight. So after having shot this a few times and shooting my stills reviews, my build guides, I have regained some of my respect for people like Todd and Damien, these guys that do all their building on camera. It is definitely a little bit more disconcerting. Well, not disconcerting. It's just a little bit more difficult to it's more difficult to do when you can't just kind of hover where you want to be. So remember, we have got a positive side and a negative side. Negative side doesn't matter so much where you clip it. You just want to stay clear of your cap because the whole thing is a negative. But your positive side you do want to be a little more careful with because you don't want to hard short against the outside. So get your flush tweezers way up in there nice and tight and do that. Now you can also, of course, do the old Scott Bonner trip. I get you 69 and do a little pinch and twist and wiggle. But I just as soon cut it because then we know exactly where we're supposed to be. Now, one of the big things about getting any NarDA build right is the coil height. Now, and this has to do with the magics of fluid dynamics and all this sort of crap in there that I am not going to pretend to be an expert in. But what I am going to tell you is when the first time I built this and I got it right, the vapor at fair just dumped out of here. Now, if you build it with a coil height not quite so right, it'll work perfectly fine, but it works so much better if you get it right. And I'm going to try to show you how to do that. Now, if you use the build guide straight through there while you're mounting, it's going to be really close. But the rubric that I use to know, I'm going to zoom in, get it nice and focused, as you can kind of see straight through the ear hole right there. You can kind of see the bottom of that 3mm coil, right? And that's right about where you want to be. The coil is slightly proud of the air. If you look straight down here, we're slightly proud of the airflow channels, and that's right where you want to be, right where you want to be. Let's drop that guy down there. Let's get back in focus, and let's get this thing on a mod so we can do a little pulsing. I'm going to throw this where it's going to live, which is on the Art and Mod Evo, which is my current favorite squonker and arguably my favorite mod. Get that guy snugged up, fire it up. Oh yeah, we're gonna have some hot spots because we're recording, so of course we're gonna have some hot legs. So you can kind of see those if we get a little pulse. Yeah. So let's do a little bit of strumming. I bet you'll be good, or at least really close. Yeah, buddy. A little bit of strumming. A little bit of strumming. Inside out, that's what they've always said since I started rebuilding. So we are pretty close to the right spot here. All I'm doing now is getting it nice and lined up straight across our little area of building here. Look at that. So nice. Now, wicking this thing is so the first part of the slightly tricky build is the bending of the coil legs out. The next part is the wicking. It is easy to do once I show you how to do it. And you've probably seen this elsewhere. Now just grab your wick. I use Chato San cotton because I find that to be the best cotton on the market. It's not cheap, no. But what it is organic, blah, 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 awesome cotton that has no flavor. Man, it's just got no flavor, and in the best way possible, right? It's got no flavor itself. It doesn't taste like a t-shirt. You don't have to peel skins off of it and all this other gross stuff that other cotton does. That's admittedly cheaper, but it is no Chato cotton. The consistent density in Chato is what really, really makes me happy too. So you always know exactly how much wick you need just by the width. It's not about trying to guess how much you're going to be putting in there. You just cut off the right amount, thread it through, and go. So I am getting us nice and pointed on one end. We're going to get it through and grab our tweezers and pull. Now, as far as length goes, the NarDA's got quite deep juice channels. So do be aware of that and don't short yourself on cotton because you're going to need the length to get down into those wells. Now, once you got this guy kind of set up, let's give it a little trim with some wispies that I made here. And give this guy a little trim. All right, now. Now we're going to do the fully licensed Ben Miller finger flick of our cut edge so that we're nice and fluffed back up. So here's how we handle the wick. We're going to get this guy just right. We're going to flatten it out just a little bit, and we're going to turn it and use our scissors straight almost to the coil. And split that wick. And do the exact same on the other side. Bisect that thing. Bifurcate it. There we go. Now we've got 4 little tails, and we've got 4 little juice wells. How convenient, you might say. Do not, under any circumstances, pack this cotton down. Just grab it, turn it, tuck it. Grab it, turn it, tuck it. That is all you got to do. If you cram it in there like a gorilla, it will work, I guess, but it's not going to be as fluffy as you like, and I'm guessing it won't wick as well. But since I'm not a senseless gorilla, and I'm going to just turn and tuck, then we're going to be solid as a rock. Now, what I'm doing here is the next thing we want to do, which is clearing your airflow path because of the the kind of the X shape that we've got going on here. We want to make sure that the air has got unrestricted access to the coil, and it does right now because we have carefully tucked and turned our wick, and we have gotten ourselves out of the way of this guy, and we get that guy down there just a touch more. There we go. All right, let's get some juice on this thing. And since it's sitting on my my art mod, that means it's going to get derailment rail cracker because this stuff basically lives in this mod because I love it on the NarDA. Gonna get a little jump start here in our squonky action. Boom. That'll give it a squonk and let that thing set for just a minute. Now, the other method here, and that I'll just show you of wicking this, is a much more simple thing. You don't have to, once you wrap up your coil, you basically just set it in there, and you kind of tuck them under, and you tighten down your terminals, and you're done, right? You don't have any of the bendy stuff goes, and you've got one nice diagonal wick. Now, the coil height is still very important, and the coil angle is quite important as well. You want to make sure it's pretty much right dead in the middle, and you want to make sure that the one airflow is not hitting just the tail end of your coil. You want to make sure that thing's hitting straight on, well, not straight on, but hitting the whole coil right there, and that means that your wick, you want to make sure to keep this out of the way, just like before, but even more so now because you've got a lot more cotton going down in there, right? Cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. Oh, that's right. I need to show you the stuff. So top caps, real quick. This is the slammed top cap. I showed you the other one already. This is the slammed one, also by Narmods. It's basically the same thing. It's just got a slightly shorter thing with a little neck on there. With my Omen drip tip looks really nice on there. I like it. The other one that I really just adore is my Chris Munn or Bell Vapes Bell Cap. And of course that's super nice because you drop this thing on there and you can see yourself squonking. You can squeeze and see the juice, and I don't know. I just think it looks tricky. I think almost all atomizers look better with the bell cap on it. So I'm going to get all this crap out of the way, clean up, and let's go back up and talk about this thing and get out of here. Awesome. Pros and cons real quick to get us out of here. Flavor City, First Pro. I have had many dripping atomizers before this. I have had many scents that I buy and review for the show or whatever, and then put them aside and put NarDAs back on my mods. The flavor is unmatched. It's unmatched. I don't know how more plainly to say it. I have never had a dripper that tastes better than this. Now the M-Addy comes close. The Hobo Drifter, very nice atomizer, does a pretty good job. It comes close. None of the other ones that I've tried do. They're amazing. This thing's amazing. Price, another pro. It's $99. Easy as pie. $99. You get the regular stock top cap. You can get other top caps to go with it, which are of course extra. You should get a Bell Vape one because they're awesome. The Next Pro, it bottom feeds really easily. It's an inexpensive pin that you buy. Drop your existing one in, screw the other one in there, and all of a sudden you're squonking. That's really, really awesome. And what makes it doubly awesome is it's leak resistant. I just squonked. You can see juice in there right now. I can put this straight down with the airflow down. It's fine. Like mimicking in your pocket. It's not going to leak on you unless you try. The juice well too is super good for squonking because the way the juice comes up, it fills a small amount of your deck. So when you let your squonk bottle go and it sucks some of the juice back down, you still have a little bit of juice in your juice well, which is nice. Unlike some of the smaller atomizers, like for example the Hellfire Viper V2, which is a very nice atomizer. You squonk this, you got like 3 drags, and you're done. You're squonking again. This thing is not so much. You get this thing, your wick's nice and wet, and a little bit of juice left in the, and you just go to town, which is awesome. Cons, they're still a little bit hard to get a hold of. That's slightly mitigated with the fact that Nareg is not wanting that to be the case. He wants everybody that wants one to get one, so he's working really hard to do that. Now he hand finishes all these things, and he's got really high standards when it comes to QAs or QC. So, he's not going to just like dump out a bunch of them out there, but he's trying, which is cool. The other small con is the wire attachment position isn't exactly optimal. It's not hard. You saw how I built the X-Wick thing. It's not a hard build, but it's got a couple little tweaks to it. It's not as dumb easy as a K-Fun, right? So it's not a con, but it's kind of a con. And then the last one that I was able to come up with, if you're a mouth-filling vapor, the NarDA might not be for you. The airflow in here, to me, is kind of designed to be to be a restricted lung hit. For me, that's how I vape. That's why I love this thing. The airflow in here is perfect for me. But if you are the guy that lets the tight mouth along, it might not be your bag. Might not be your bag. And the other con I can come up with is I don't have 13 of them, which isn't much of a con, I guess. But it kind of is. The TLDR is this has been my favorite dripper for many months at this point, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I will continue to try things. I'm always up for being proven wrong. Everything always kind of moves ahead. Haven't seen it yet, man. If you can find one, buy one. Or buy 2 and give me one of them. Angsty out.